Yo, what's poppin', guys? Sizzle here, and today I'm just gonna be ranting about what I feel has killed off the fun of Overwatch for me and pretty much anyone else that played Overwatch 1, and even a lot of people that played Overwatch 2, which is kind of crazy to say, because for a while it was actually a pretty decent split, where a lot of the people that started playing in Overwatch 2 couldn't see a lot of the flaws, because they hadn't played 1, right? If you haven't experienced 6v6, you haven't experienced a game without role passives, you haven't experienced a game without like Mauga, without Echo and stuff, it really will have a completely different view, and there's not really a way to make up for that without them being able to experience the original game, which they never will be able to. But yeah, I'm here to talk about kind of the problems that I think Overwatch 2 has had that really led to this point, really have caused this set of problems, while just playing lucioball in the background. I'm gonna be live playing it, live commentating, live gaming. Just because, I don't know, I like playing lucioball. I like playing lucioball, honestly, more than Overwatch, and this has always been true since the launch of the game. Even back in 2016, I played a good amount, before they added competitive lucioball, but especially afterward, right? But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. And the main reason I'm having this rant at all isn't just because I've had these festering thoughts, because I've been thinking this stuff for, like, over a year at this point. The reason I'm having this rant is because the devs announced they're finally going to be discussing 6v6 after not addressing it for a year and a half, right? Why make the format swap? What's the real reason? Why not go back? You know, what are their kind of thoughts there? They've been unwilling to talk about that, either through their own posts or especially whenever they're interviewing with creators. They've sent them specific things saying, if you, in our interview, talk about 6v6, we will stop the interview, right? It was one of the banned things to talk about, along with, you know, racism and all that or whatever, which the other stuff makes a lot more sense, but why is 6v6 not being talked about? I was always curious, and we're finally about to get our answer. 2 weeks ago, they did say they're going to talk about 6v6. 2 days ago or whatever, they said, we're still working on that post, we want to make sure we say what we actually mean, so we have to watch our wording and all that, and they're spending a little bit longer crafting this blog post or dev post or whatever than usual, which is fair enough. But yeah. So yep, the first problem obviously is 5v5 versus 6v6. For those who haven't heard the arguments or don't really understand what a lot of people were saying when it comes to 5v5 versus 6v6, the main problem is kind of counterpicking and focus, right? I've talked to so many people that have never played Overwatch, that have never planned on playing Overwatch, and kind of, you know, things like that. And every time I mentioned them, there was 2 tanks, there was 2 DPS, there was 2 supports, now there's 1 tank, 2 DPS, and 2 supports. They literally, I say, what do you think the biggest problem would be? That's like my exact phrasing, right? We went from 2-2-2 to 1-2-2. What do you think will happen? What do you think the problem with the game currently is? They always say, wouldn't everyone just shoot the isolated tank who doesn't have a partner anymore? And yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. Everybody who hasn't played this game could tell you, I could have told you this before Overwatch 2 launch. A lot of people did say this before Overwatch 2 launch. And shocker, it's exactly what happens now. And it's been a problem for a year and a half that's been completely unaddressed and is fixed just by going 6v6. You might be wondering, why would that be fixed when you're 6v6? The answer is because you have a partner. You have a partner on tank. If they focus you down, that means that your partner is not getting focused down. And the inherently valuable role of tank is going to be getting its full value on touch, right? If you're on Reinhardt and they pull out the Orisa, they pull out the Zenyatta, they pull out the Bastion, and your teammate just happens to go Zarya, or maybe goes Diva or something, if there's something to kind of help you out, then you'll be completely fine. And you'll probably win that game. You'll continue to be able to play Rein because they can't focus you down. If they spend all their resources on you, your Zarya just walks for free and does everything for free. And that's not just a Rein Zar thing, you could do it with just whatever unorthodox comp you want. If you have Wrecking Ball in Reinhardt, which is an awful combo by the way, but if you have those two, they can't just stare at you on Reinhardt, because if they stare at you on Reinhardt, there's a Wrecking Ball that's going to be beeping them doing a lot of crazy shit in the backline. Right, and that's what 6v6 does. That's why 6v6 is better, is because you're allowed to just play your character. Counterpicking doesn't matter as much just inherently from a format perspective. In 5v5, no matter how they could balance this game, it just makes sense to focus someone down. They can't do anything about it. If you all focus down the individual tank, that tank can't get the help he needs. If 5 people counterpick me on Ryan, I just lose. My teammates could all be characters unaffected, but the value of taking out the individual tank and then not having a tank is way too much value. And that's the big problem with the format. But I'm also not just here to talk about the format. Like, the format's obviously a problem, but I'd honestly say it's only about half of the issues with Overwatch at the moment. The other half... Oh, damn. Can't believe I whiffed that. But the other half of the problems aren't just tied to the format. It's tied to a lot of other decisions they've just made over time. Mainly in the form of balancing, but there's been a lot of other stuff as well that they've just added this game. The big one for me that nobody ever talks about are role passives. They've been by far the worst addition to the game, and they make even 5v5 worse to play. A big example I can think of is Ana. This is always just the easiest, biggest example I can think of when it comes to this type of thing. As that Ana nade, right, in Overwatch 2, everybody knows Ana nade as anti-nade, because, I mean, that's what it's called in Overwatch 1 as well. But it's especially prevalent into that it's anti-nade, because that's really the only reason you ever use it, is to anti the enemy. You have no reason to use it on yourself, no real reason to use it on your teammates. I mean, you can, and occasionally you will. But in Overwatch 1, you use that to save yourself more than half the time, because you didn't self-heal. The only character that used to have self-heal was Lucio when he was on heals, and then Mercy. And that was it. Outside of those two, nobody got self-heal. Which meant you actually had to play with your team. I remember seeing forum posts back in the day saying, like, if I go around a pillar on McCree, I should be able to just get healed. My supports sometimes don't heal me when I'm just standing there, and it's really annoying for me. A lot of the time, that's not the problem, it's that they sucked at the game. And they just weren't positioned a way to even get healed. They weren't in line of sight to the supports. They thought the supports could see them, but they couldn't. And a lot of time, it was really just a skill issue. But in Overwatch 2, that skill issue doesn't happen, because you get automatically healed the millisecond you are out of a fight. And it's a real problem. It makes it so anti-nade, an ability that it was balanced perfectly in Overwatch 1, went untouched for like 7 years from the launch of Ana till the end of Ana. That ability never got changed once. It's been changed like 8 times in Overwatch 2. It's a little ridiculous just how much it was changed. I don't really... I don't understand why they felt... Like, I understand why they felt the need to do it, and that's a 5v5 problem, but I don't understand why they refuse to go back when it's so clear that a lot of these problems are inherently just tied to the passives or the format. In this case, it's the passives. I think if you get rid of the support passive in Overwatch 2, get rid of the DPS passive, the tank passive, support passive, and give Rein back his old passive of taking less knockback, because that was an inherent character ability, right? Bastion gets his passive, or when he's in turret form, he takes less damage. Like, things like that make sense. Those are hero abilities, really. Like, hero passives I understand, but role-wide passives, and especially, game-wide self-heal is a problem. And it really... The support heroes that are designed to have abilities that have to be used either defensively or offensively and are extremely powerful for that reason, and getting rid of them, right? If you dove like an Ana on Genji in Overwatch 1 and got rid of anti-nade and sleep, you would like have an extreme advantage of the enemy team, because now your Ana has anti and sleep and they don't, so you just win by default, right? And that just doesn't happen in Overwatch 2. You get rid of anti and sleep and the Ana just heals anyway and can't die anyway, and just walks away for a second, gets it again, throws the anti and sleep at your tank, and then you lose the fight anyway. It just doesn't really matter as much, because those abilities that are designed to be defensive and offensive are only ever used offensively. Vap's Immort, which he used to have to use to save himself, he can now use to save his tank, his DPS, whatever. It's a bad thing, because it means those tanks don't die, those teammates don't die, those abilities are always on your teammates, and you're just not allowed to play the game. You get all the stun, all the CC, and they have no reason to not throw it at you. There's really nothing more beneficial than anti-ing a tank as a support, as an Ana. Why would you not want to anti the tank in Overwatch 2? It used to be because you need that to heal yourself. You used to not heal automatically. You used to have to grab a health pack. You used to have to get healed by your other support. You used to have to actually use your abilities, think a little, and play the game as a team. But now you don't need that. I made a video like, I don't know, 4 months ago saying like Overwatch is a team deathmatch game. That's pretty much what it is. This game feels like team deathmatch half the time, and it sucks as the tank, because the tank gets focused. It's like team deathmatch, and then the tanks are little pinatas you can just whack for fun as you're playing team deathmatch. It's really not a great time. And whenever they're not pinatas, it feels awful. There's like... Like, when the tanks are actually noticeably there, it's like now the tanks get to do a 1v1 and everyone else gets to be the pinata and spectate. There's not really a great way to fix that, and a lot of that is caused more by role passives than even the format itself. I seriously don't know why they did the role passives. Everyone said the role passives sucked, and then they doubled down and made more role passives. They made the role passives do more. They changed the role passives a little bit, buffed them here and there, nerfed them here and there. It's like, no, we just don't want them. They were never there in Overwatch 1. The game was amazing without them. You know, the Overwatch that got Game of the Year had no role passives. Why does this game need it all of a sudden? I genuinely think that if they'd made Overwatch 2, just Overwatch 1, but free to play with the monetization, I'd be okay with it. I know a lot of people like to bitch about their like $30 skins in the item shop, but honestly, dude, that is like the least of my concerns. Because who cares about a $30 skin if like you don't even want to play the game in the first place? And that's kind of how Overwatch is, right? Like, the $30 skins are cool, and the art team always does a great job with them, but I don't want to play the game that these $30 skins are usable in. And that's kind of the problem I have with Overwatch. People focus in on the wrong things. People never talk about the role passes. They never talk about the balancing. That's another thing this game has done awful on in every regard. Every single balance patch, outside of a few in Season 1, because back when the game launched, it was like really, really badly balanced. Like, Zarya and Sombra were literally in every game, and unironically unbeatable. Like, Zarya, I remember there used to be a time period where you used to have to use every cooldown on every team to have the chance at Zarya not having a bubble. Because I think she had 1 second of downtime between her bubbles or something back in Season 1. It was a little ridiculous. They made a patch to fix that relatively fast. That patch was good. But outside of that patch, and some random patch in Season 4, every single patch over the last year and a half has been awful. It's been net negative. They'll fix one really prevalent problem. Like, let's say like Reinhardt was really strong. Reinhardt wouldn't die and he did too much damage. They would nerf Rein's damage, and then they'd give Orisa 8 more seconds to fortify. And then Orisa's now the problem. And they've done that for a year and a half, and now every character's a problem if you change them even slightly. And there's always, there's always a problem. There's always a problem with balance. And there was always a problem with balance in Overwatch 1, but it didn't matter as much because you could just play your character. I mean, like I said, let's say, I don't know, let's say Reinhardt's really strong that month. You could still run it down on Zarya because you didn't have to play Rein. That Rein is one of 6 people, and unless he's obscenely strong, he only gets a little bit more value than anyone else. Not a lot. You could really make up for it with player's skill. You can make up for it with like the way the abilities all interacted and stuff. It was really fucking cool. But in Overwatch 2, you can't. If someone goes Mauga and you're on Roadhog, it literally could be someone that just installed the game and has played FPSs for like a week, and they will beat the Grandmaster player on Roadhog every single day. And I'm saying this from experience, right? I'm around like Master's Tank now, I'd say. I was GM before, you know, Season 9 when they reworked stuff. I was Grandmaster for like, you know, 7 seasons of Overwatch 1, and then I stopped playing Rule Queue, and I think I'm probably Masters now if I had to guess. Although I am top 100 Open Queue if that matters at all. And there's a, you know, one of the people I know that plays this game with me, they're Silver, right? They have, I think, 20 hours total, and when they go Mauga and I'm on Roadhog, I have to like hard lock in. I have to hard calm. I need my teammates to perfectly follow up on my hooks and stuff just to have even the slightest chance of not getting completely smoked, much less winning. I have a really difficult time beating a guy with 10 hours of Overwatch and little experience of FPSs otherwise. With Roadhog, the character who's my second most played tank, I think I have 130 hours on my main account, and I have like 5 or 6 more somewhere else, so like 130 hours, you know, total. I could check right now. I think Roadhog is my most played tank other than Rein, because I have played a lot of Rein in Overwatch too. Yeah, 158 hours of Roadhog. All my Lucio hours, by the way, are mostly lucioball. I'm not actually playing the character. But Reinhardt and Roadhog, my most played characters, if he goes Mauga, I do just lose by default, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's it's so awful, man. And it's awful enough that a lot of the people playing Overwatch 2, a lot of the first-time players, right, people that started in Overwatch 2 Season 6 or 7 because the game was free-to-play and they'd heard about it for a while, those people that have never played without role passes, they know how bad Mauga is. Right, and this is the other problem that nobody talks about enough. People mention it casually whenever patch notes come out, but the balance of this game is awful, and the hero design is awful, right? I can tell you there are 4 characters from Overwatch 1 who should never even be playable in my opinion. Because if they're playable, it means they're overpowered or they're oppressive. And those characters are Zarya, Roadhog, You know, the character I just talked about liking to play and having played in this game, right? Zarya, Roadhog, Ball, and Diva. Those 4 characters are off tanks. They're designed in Overwatch 1 to be the second tank, to accommodate another tank, and they were designed and they were completely balanced in that context, and they work completely fine in 6v6. But in 5v5, in order to be the individual tank, you need to do everything. You need to be able to handle everything thrown at you, because everything will be thrown at you, because that's just an inherent design problem with 5v5. Which means every single one of those tanks, if they're playable, it means they've been giga buffed so much that their character design that was designed around, you know, being an off tank, like helping out your main guy, they do all the supportive stuff while being strong enough to be a main tank. And that's what Mauga does. He's both an off and main tank at the same time, and it's oppressive. It's really, really oppressive when he can just do it all. And whenever any of those 4 characters are really strong, they're oppressive. They can do it all. And that's because they weren't designed to be in this format. In order to be in this format, they have to be able to do that. And it's really, really stupid. It's really dumb. And, like, that's one thing. Those characters were designed for Overwatch 1. It's okay the design's bad. Just don't make them good. They keep making them good, by the way. I think right now we're in a Diva meta. Like 2 months ago, we were in a... Yeah, like before Mauga, Zarya had their meta, right? Balls had his meta. They keep coming back in the meta because they keep trying to make their play rates rise, and they don't realize that if they make these guys even remotely playable, they're going to take over the game because they have too much. They were built to be a supportive tank, and when they're the only tank and they're supportive tank and they're strong enough to be in the front line taking all the cooldowns, that's a problem. They're always going to be too strong. Without a major rework, they're cooked. And it sucks because those characters are fun. Like I said, Roadhog is one of my favorite tanks. Ball can be extremely fun. Zarya can be really fun in 6v6. I've done some custom games 6v6, and I obviously played Overwatch 1. She was pretty fun to play as, with, and against back then. But now whenever I play as or against a Zarya, it just feels like she does either nothing or she's like really oppressive. If you have like a Zarya going in on, I don't know, like their Junkrat or something, with a Pharah and a Zarya, or like a Reaper and a Zarya, it just feels like you can't kill that Reaper, that Pharah, whatever, and they just sweep the whole team. And it feels like there's no counterplay other than like bum rushing the Zarya, but if you do that, then the Pharah kills everyone, and it just sucks. It's just awful, man. And that's one thing, and those characters all sucked in Overwatch. Like, they were fine in Overwatch 1, they were perfectly designed there, but it's understandable that they suck in a format they weren't designed for, and that they just shouldn't be good. The devs don't realize that yet, but I'm sure eventually they'll figure it out and they'll stop buffing them. The problem is, though, the new characters they come out with have been the worst designed characters in the history of the game ever. They would have been badly designed characters in 6v6, and they're even worse in 5v5. Right, I keep mentioning Mauga. He's one of the worst designed characters ever. He's a character that has the self-sustain of like Roadhog times 10. He gets armored health. He gets a pin that has ability, ability mitigation, damage mitigation, knockback mitigation. Like, it just beats everything. His pin literally beats everything. If you sleep dart Mauga when he's pinning, he won't get slept. Or if you sleep a Reinhardt when he's pinning, he gets slept. But Mauga, for some reason, just gets to play above that. He's above the rules. He's playing a different game. But Mauga is built to be a tank buster with ridiculous sustain, ridiculous damage, and one of the best ults ever made. And like, not best as in best design, as in strongest, right? Nothing's ever going to beat BAP window, but Mauga ult's ridiculous, right? They actually started the game strong. All their hero releases from the launch of the game were good, and I think are good in both 5v5 and 6v6. Sojourn had bad numbers for a long time, but she's a well-designed hero. Kiriko's a well-designed hero. Ramacha's a well-designed hero. Junker Queen's a great designed hero. All 4 of those were bangers. They're great in 5v5, they're better in 6v6. It's beautiful. They're really well done. A lot of people have said if Ramacha was in 6v6, he'd probably be like a fan favorite hero. In 5v5, he's really annoying and oppressive, but in 6v6, he really, I think, would be in his element, and it's great. Like, I've played with Ramacha in 6v6. It's a really, really great time. But then after that, they did Lifeweaver, who in my opinion is the worst designed character in all of Overwatch history, because he's a fully defensive hero, and even though he's never been good, he's not been good once, he's still one of my most hated heroes ever, because he's just so annoying and oppressive. It's a real issue. He's a character designed around everyone else not being able to play the game. And that is a problem. You want to be able to play the game. When I'm on Reinhardt, I want to be able to pin someone. When I'm on Roadhog, I want to be able to hook someone. when I'm on Pharah and I see some, idiot tank like just walking toward my team, I want to be able to shoot at him and do damage. But Lifeweaver is designed to stop that. Lifeweaver is designed to stop grabs, stop fluxes, stop anyone from having any fun or playing the game in any way that isn't Widow headshot only. That's pretty much the only way you can consistently not have an issue with Lifeweaver is if you one-shot people, or if you're a fellow support, because supports don't really care too much that he's immortal. He has like crazy mobility, crazy sustain. Every time he dashes, he gets like 80 health, and he has a dash and like a 5-second cooldown. His pedal effectively makes him immortal for like 5 seconds, unless you're one of the few characters that can jump up there to hit him, because for some reason it can't be pierced by things like Fire Strike. And even when it could be pierced by things like Fire Strike, it still made him functionally immortal, because Fire Strike could only really hit him once. It's a little ridiculous. And right after Lifeweaver, they pull out Alari, who's basically just, on the right maps, is uncontestable, especially at the moment, where for some reason her pylon has enough health that you can't destroy it with Fire Strike or any kind of normal ability that a tank has. There are certain tanks, like Reinhardt, who I'm going to keep bringing up because he's my most played tank, but Reinhardt, for example, can't break pylon. Pylon has 125 HP, his Fire Strikes do 120. If Reinhardt uses both of his Fire Strikes to break the Pylon, he'll have no Fire Strikes, and half of Reinhardt's damage in any given game, and half of the reason he can even kill anyone to begin with, is because on Reinhardt, you swing your hammer once, and then you hit a Fire Strike, and that is how you do your damage. The alternating strikes between them, because your Fire Strike cancels your swing, and then your swing will happen right after your Fire Strike, that's how you do enough burst damage to even have a chance at killing someone at all. And Alari Pylon gets rid of both of those if you decide to break it, and if you don't break it, it heals enough that you literally can't touch the Pylon, and you're fully reliant on your teammates to break it. And if they don't break it, you could swing on someone. I think it takes like 12 swings if someone has a Pylon next to them on like Torbjorn. And you're swinging on them on a Reinhardt, you don't break the Pylon, even if the Torb's not getting healed by an Alari, not getting healed by an Ana, not getting healed in any way, the Torb will not die. Like, he'll just stand there, take the Pylon. He could probably beat Rein with Torb Hammer, just standing there and hitting them. If they were hitting each other back and forth, Rein would just lose by default. It's a little ridiculous. There's like no... there's nothing you can do. On the right maps, that thing could be floating up in the sky. Reinhardt can't swing on it. He could try to pin over to it and swing on it, but it's up in the sky. And there's like nothing else to do. It sucks. It's awful. And I don't like it, and nobody likes it. And what's crazy is they did that after Alari was already the most, like, not the most played, but she was getting consistent playtime. I was seeing a few different Alaris in top 500 leaderboards, the people that were bored enough to play her, because she's not particularly fun either. She's just a McCree with the healing turret, pretty much. I mean, if you like McCree, you'll like her, but most support players aren't DPS players. If they wanted to play DPS, they would just go McCree and play DPS. Right? It's very simple stuff. But for some reason, the support role now has their own McCree with a healing pylon that does it all. And, like, it's ass, man. It's so awful. It's awful to play as. It's really awful to play against. And they had finally kind of balanced in a way that made it not completely AIDS to play against, where Reinhardt Fire Strike could one-shot it, Winston with 2 right clicks could break it. Because it also regenerates, by the way. If you don't shoot it long enough, it has shield health, so it will regenerate the damage it is taking. So if you hit it with 1 Fire Strike, and you want to hold your Fire Strike and maybe wait for a 3rd Fire Strike to be able to, you know, hit anyone that might come into your range and actually kill them with Burst Fire, you don't really get that option. Like, Reinhardt just, like, it'll heal enough that you'll have to use 2 Fire Strikes at any given time to be able to break it. Or 1 Fire Strike and a teammate shooting it. And even Sombra Hack doesn't break it. Winston needs like 5 right clicks to break it. You know, Junker Queen has to be really, really close to break it. And sometimes that's just not possible, depending on the map and all that. And it's brutal. It's brutal. It's really poor design. And then Mauga, you know, Tank Buster, Infant Sustain, everything. What the hell just happened to my internet? That was crazy. Hopefully that fixed itself. I want to be able to play the video game. But yeah, like, you know, you just want to play, I just want to play my heroes, I just want to play the game. They add all this shit, and you know what their proposed solution, their next solution is? It's to add more passives to the game, where every time you load into the game, along with picking your hero, you have to pick a role passive for you to pick, which means they're gonna have even more balancing nightmares, and they can't even balance one role-wide passive. How the fuck are they gonna balance two of them, right, per character? And especially if they're like remotely different, because I think the idea was to have them be more specialized toward each character, but that's going to be impossible to balance. There's going to be a meta role passive for every character, and if someone picks the off-meta role passive, you're going to have to, as a newer player, learn all of this. And even as a known, like a player who's been here for a while, I'm going to have to learn per character 2 new things. On top of every single ability interaction, on top of what every character's ability, ultimate, primary fire does, I'm gonna have to remember 2 more passives, so much information on top of everything. And that's while they're like not fixing all these other problems of the role passives, of the game balance, of the format being just distinctly worse, of all the hero design, of the new heroes being bad, and the hero design of most of the Overwatch 1 tanks still just not working. They never really reworked them. The Hog rework, I have a video when the Hog rework came out saying this Hog rework is just not a Hog rework. He's not been reworked at all. You know, when they reworked Symmetra, she like had her, you know, she had a shield generator, she had a Sigma shield. These were like reworks. She got like whole new abilities. They designed a whole new character. She played completely differently to the original. She used to have Moira auto-aim tracking, and now she used to like track people with her beam. Like they've changed a lot about that character. She had like 3 different reworks where they actually reworked and changed the character. They did that with McCree recently. They actually reworked him, but for some reason with Roadhog, he doesn't get a rework. I don't want him to get a rework. I love his hook. I just want to go back to 6v6 where I'm allowed to hook people and not feel like a jackass for doing it. But in Overwatch 2, I just gotta feel like a jackass for doing it because it's inherently not designed for the game and it just doesn't work in 5v5. I don't know how to explain all this shit to people that don't understand it, but it's insane, man. It's insane. So we got balance issues, we got hero design issues, we have format issues. We also have, they took away a lot of the fun stuff in this game, right? There used to be competitive arcade modes, right? Competitive lucioball, one of my favorite modes of all time. I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but out of my 2,000 hours in Overwatch, 400 of them are in competitive lucioball. Is seriously one of the most fun modes I've ever played. I don't have footage of this unfortunately, but I sat through literally an 8.5 hour queue to find one 3-minute game of lucioball. I liked it that much. It's never been balanced, never been real balance patches. They made the hit detection worse, they made the game worse, they've added these shitty maps like the one I'm playing on right now that aren't just the default lucioball arena. And they just keep adding dumb shit over time, but I still love it. I still play it every time it comes out. They removed a competitive version of that. They tried a few different competitive modes in Overwatch 2. They did one thing of competitive deathmatch, one thing competitive CTF, and 3 seasons of competitive mystery heroes. And then they gave up. They haven't done a competitive arcade mode in like 5 months. It's brutal. And I love those modes. I don't really like the main game that much, but the side modes are really fun. The competitive modes really give you a reason to try in those modes, which is rarely there. But yeah, competitive CTF, you could see I grinded to be top 500 in that. Competitive deathmatch, I grinded to be top 500 in that using only Pharah on 2 accounts, by the way. I don't know if I can find my other account, but IJ, that's also me. Let's see, where is that? And on that account, I won with every single character. You see IJ, 188 games played. And you can see competitive deathmatch, games won. I won on every single hero that was released at the time. Alari, Maug, and Venture all came out after. Venture, by the way, is actually a great designed hero. I'm a real big fan of her design, but the format really doesn't benefit her. She'd be so much more fun in 6v6 than 5v5, but I do love her design, so no hate on that. But Lifeweaver, Alari, and Mauga are genuinely the 3, I think, worst designed heroes in Overwatch history. Also, Sombra got her annoying perma-stealth. Every Sombra player asked them to remove perma-stealth. Every non-Sombra player asked the dev team to remove perma-stealth, and the dev team just refuses to do it. Sombra just stays permanently invisible. That's her only real problem. Obviously, it's annoying not being able to use your abilities, but when Sombra actually has to engage with the fight and commit to it, and like there's a timing to it and all that, it kind of makes it more okay. But current Sombra doesn't have to do any of that. She just gets to like stand next to you, completely invisible. and hack you repeatedly and hack whoever she wants and then get away with it scot-free. Takes no skill, no counterplay, no nothing. Counterplay is a big thing for me in this game. In Overwatch 1 there was counterplay to everything. Even the most broken characters, the most broken times had counterplay, except for Baptiste, who is also one of the worst designed heroes ever. And not because he's badly designed necessarily, just because he's over-kitted and over-tuned. He's kind of like Sigma, who's also pretty poorly designed in Overwatch 1. In Overwatch 2 he's a perfect 5v5 tank because he has too many things, right? He has a defense matrix that heals him if he actually defends damage. He has, whoops, I meant to slam that down more, that's my bad. But he has a defense matrix that heals him if he does damage. He has a shield that regenerates, and while his shield's up, he can shoot people. Which is like, there's like 4 abilities in one. He's the best ultimate of any tank, just in general, except for maybe Mauga, who got released in Overwatch 2, and might have a better ult depending on the balance of the season, you know, what's good, what's bad, etc. But yeah, like it's brutal, man. There's Sigma was an Overwatch 2 tank that was made in Overwatch 1, released in Overwatch 1, and ruined the game in Overwatch 1. Would have been balanced out, by the way, if they kept updating the game, but they stopped updating the game to make PvE in Overwatch 2, so Overwatch 1 was left to die. And then Overwatch 2 got, you know, got Ramatra, who was actually like a perfect Overwatch 1 tank, but he was released in Overwatch 2, so he was inherently a lot less fun for everyone involved. And still very fun, by the way. Ram is still a very heavily played hero. Ram is still a heavily liked hero. A lot of people just enjoy him, and he's a great presence. I hope they don't change him if they do end up going back to 6v6, and that's what I hope they do. I don't think they will, and I'm gonna, you know, if they make a dev post, I'm making a actually well-edited, you know, well-spoken reaction to whatever dev post they have around 6v6 whenever that happens. But that's a whole nother thing. I mean, I'm making this video in preparation to get my thoughts out there, just in case they fix everything, just so people have like a little time capsule of like when this game was at its worst. But yeah, then there's Baptiste, who caused double shields single-handedly. Baptiste's Immort field made it so if you put his Immort field behind 2 barriers, if you broke the one barrier, the second barrier would be there. Right? Orisa had a shield, Sigma had a shield, and while they were both shielding, they could both be doing other things. Old Orisa used to be overkitted as well and have too much that she could do. While putting her shield down, she could shoot, she could fortify, she could pull people. There's like 3 very, very strong abilities all in one character. Sigma gets defense matrix, he gets to heal up defense matrix, gets a shield, and gets to hit people with rocks, and a rock that stuns people. He got like 4 abilities all in one, and Overwatch 1 was just not made for that. Right, Lucio gets 3 abilities, he gets his main shooting, he gets his boops, and he gets his wall ride. And that's it. Most characters had 2 abilities. Winston had his leap and his bubble. Reinhardt had his pin and his shield, and it gets an added fire strike because he had no range. He didn't have a primary fire, so he needed a range option, and that was when it was okay to get that extra ability like that. But they got actual primary fires usable for most ranges. Both got barriers that you could kind of, you know, just put down and continue to shoot as you used it. Reinhardt, when he shields, is stuck shielding. When they shield, they're allowed to shoot people. I guess Orisa is used to. They did rework, and I think actually Overwatch 2 Orisa works better in Overwatch 1. And Overwatch 1 Orisa actually I think would have worked way better in Overwatch 2, but a lot less bad to play against. But that's a whole nother thing entirely. But yeah, we got stuck with heroes in the wrong formats, in the wrong games, at the wrong times. And it all just kind of sucks. They remove all the fun with arcade modes. They remove competitive rewards. If you finish top 500 in Overwatch 2, you don't even get comp points anymore. All you get is a name tag that after 2 months disappears, like where it says Rampant Slayer right there. I could replace that with whatever rank I got last season, which I don't even really know. I can go check right now. Let's see, player titles. You'll see I'll say seasonal on it, right? Yeah, Master Open Challenger. I can just say, oh, I was a Master Open Challenger, but only for 2 months. And then after 2 months, it's like it never happened. They removed the Overwatch 1 stats, so unless I have footage of it, which I happen to have for lucioball, I have footage and proof of what rank I was in lucioball, which I'm very glad that I do, because otherwise I'd have no way of kind of showing that off. You just lost access to all your stats. And it's not like a big thing, but like it'd be cool to see who was I playing back in Season 5 of Overwatch 1 in 2016. And I got to know that from 2016 till 2022. I was just allowed to know that information. But once Overwatch 2 dropped, they literally just removed all the Overwatch 1 stats. They didn't remove the ranked rewards, which, by the way, there were actual notable permanent ranked rewards in Overwatch 1, and it made ranked a lot more interesting to play. My current player icon that I have 90% of the time is the Season 20 competitor. It's not for getting top 500, it's for having played competitive in Season 20 of Overwatch 1. If I go down here, you could see, right, top 500 in deathmatch and team deathmatch, top 500 in lucioball in multiple seasons, and then I played like season 2 till 32 or whatever. Right, and all of that is just visible on a player icon. You get an animated spray if you finish top 500, which really incentivizes people to push to the top. Every single season, if you were above diamonds, your rank would reset back to diamond and you'd have to climb back up to the top ranks, which meant people couldn't just be top 500 and then be perpetually top 500 just by averaging a 50% win rate, which is pretty guaranteed because the matchmaker wants you to have a 50% win rate. The matchmaker's designed when you have a 50% win rate, it means the game was balanced and they did a good job. But it doesn't feel great as a player. You want to constantly grow, you want to constantly climb, you want to hit new peaks. Back when we had SR numbers instead of, you know, Grandmaster 1 or Champion 1 or whatever, back when it was just SR and it was 4,000 whatever, like, people knew their exact number they climbed to because it felt like an achievement. It was permanently on your profile. You got a little animated spray and a really cool player icon if you managed to do it and get to top 500 and hit the highest peaks of the game. It made ranked feel rewarding despite not really giving you any tangible, insane rewards or doing anything crazy like that. It made people that weren't at the top want to strive for the top because you actually had something to work toward and something really cool waiting for you if you made it to the top. But you wouldn't make it to the top. Like, if you make it to the top nowadays, which I have multiple times, you have nothing to show for it. I've gotten top 500 in open queue like 5 times. I have an alt account that was top 500 tank one season. I think it was season 6. It was just kind of a random ass season and it wasn't recorded. I'm not sharing what that account was or anything, but it was there, right? I've gotten the role, but it's all temporary. And unless you look at the player profiles, which are all private by default nowadays, which is a whole nother thing in and of itself, and you for some reason are like, okay, I want to see what was this guy up to in season 4. Oh, in season 4 he was top 300 in open queue. But unless you want to do that, you're not going to know. I can't have a season 4 top 500 open queue player icon or anything. And I don't know why, because that's not a lot of effort to do. We can go to hero sprays. I mean, I'm still proud. I have my Copa Lucioball here, 2018 top 500 spray. At the 2019, the 2020, and the 2021 one, and then that's when they stopped doing competitive lucioball. I did for team deathmatch. I did for 2 different seasons of deathmatch. I almost got in capture the flag, didn't manage to finish that out on time. But like, I did this, what, 6 years ago, and I still have the ability to show it off. And I still have the ability to be proud of it, and it's cool. And I'm still glad I played that. It still makes me feel like rewarded for having put all my time into that. But Overwatch 2, I've gotten to top 500 open queue like 6 times, and the most rewarding part of it was that I happened to record it and make it into a YouTube series. And once I did that, like, that's the rewarding part, is that people enjoyed those videos, they enjoyed my commentary, and my channel has done pretty well, I'd say, for the low-quality content I've thrown out on it so far. But that's not what most people are doing, and that's really not rewarding for playing the game. I could have done that with literally anything, and I think the results would have been similar. And it's just sad to see. It's there's such simple, small things like that. Another thing that nobody talks about, because only like a small percent of the player base used it, is Look for Group, but I was part of that small percentage of the player base, and what Look for Group was, it was like the custom game launcher, except you could find teams of people to play with. You could say, hey, I'm playing with my friend, I'm a gold tank, they're a gold tank, we're looking for 2 DPS, 2 supports who have microphones to play with us. And then you would sit in the main menu and people would join you off of the Look for Group launcher. And that shit was great. I found people play lucioball within that, I found people play competitive within that, I found people play quick play within that. And specifically people with mics, because I like talking to people. That's the fun part of anything, is interacting with other people, and talking to them is the direct form of interaction, and that's always really great. But they got rid of that for like seemingly no reason, and I don't really understand why. I think they said they were going to bring it back. I don't really remember, but it hasn't been back in Overwatch 2, and that's like it's minor things like that, like ranked rewards, like other things like that have really sucked the soul out of this game. There's such minor things, but like were removed for no reason. There was a while where you didn't have the on fire system, where if you did really well, you fill up the on fire meter, and it's like You know, you could look at what players doing well that game according to the game by if you held tab or whatever, they're on fire. That was a cool thing. But you don't get to see that anymore, I guess. Well, sorry, you weren't able to see that for like the first 4 seasons of Overwatch 1, and when they added it back in like Season 5 or whatever, they expected everyone to be excited about it, right? They removed hero levels, in the not hero level, player levels. In the bottom left, where it says Sizzle and there's like a little portrait of Lucio, it used to also show like a cool-ass border around your character, and it would show what level you were, it would show everyone what level you were, you could see it in every lobby, and like some people got shit-talked for it. Like if you had a gold border and you were ranked gold, it means you have like 1,000 hours and you were still ranked in gold. People sometimes make fun of you for that, but people make fun of you for anything, man. You go like 1 in 9 on Reinhardt at this point in time, they'll tell you your shit, they'll tell you to uninstall. Like, that's nothing special. There's nothing really special about that. But if you look at like my profile, for whatever reason they let it stay here, you can see right here, this part where it says there's like a silver border and a 1 and 3 stars underneath it, you would have that in the bottom left of your screen where the player icon was, and at all times you could see what rank you were, and as you played more and more, it would go from a bronze to a silver to a gold to like a platinum and then like a diamond, and then it was like a mix of diamond and gold. They had some like really cool glowing icons down there. You could also see your rank icon, so in the bottom left, if I was playing competitive, I would see like, you know, a platinum 1 or whatever in the bottom left on top of the hero level thing. And it really made you feel rewarded for just playing the game and like doing things. And they just removed all of that. They removed all of it. They haven't really replaced it in any meaningful way. I mean, they did add hero levels and they added global player levels back, but instead of being able to at least toggle them onto your own screen, like, it's one thing if you don't want other people to be able to see your level, and that's completely fine. I would be okay if they have like a toggle in the same way that there's private profiles and you could toggle that on so people can't see what rank you are and what heroes you play, which personally I don't understand why that's a system either, but you know, I kind of get it. I get having a toggle for that. I don't know why it's on by default, why people have a private profile by default. It's kind of stupid. But like, I understand having systems like that, and that would have been fine for hero level 2. If someone's getting bullied for being a gold player with a gold border, make it so they can disable their border. I'd be completely okay with that, but I want to see mine. I was very happy knowing I was a silver border. I mean, I put like 800 hours into the game. It was cool to see my competitive rank in competitive and really feel like I was grinding towards something. It was cool to get my player icons, get my sprays, get whatever I wanted, while having the game feel like I could play any character and win. I could play any character and perform. I didn't have to do things. I could counterpick to try and make the game a little bit easier on myself, but it wouldn't ruin the fun for the people I was playing against. Now when I counterpick, dude, I'm ruining the other guy's day, you know? If he's on Zarya and I swap to Reinhardt, that guy's not allowed to play his Zarya character anymore. I disabled that option for him, and that sucks. I don't want to do that to someone. Most people don't want to do that to people. Like, not explicitly. They want to beat the other guy, but they don't want to, like, beat him down into the dirt, you know, curb stomp him. I just want to beat him, man. I just want to win. I'm okay with winning on a character that's worse, if it's possible, but honestly, if the skills are even remotely close, you know, if I'm like GM smurfing in bronze, yeah, I'm gonna win on even if they counterpick me. But if I'm like GM and they're in diamonds, I will lose to the diamond player if they pick the right character and I don't swap, which is dumb. It's dumb. It's annoying, and then I don't get rewarded for it. They don't get rewarded for it. Nobody gets any permanent rewards of any kind. Any sense of achievement, any sense of accomplishment has all been removed. All the sense of character that people used to have, their own favorite skins on characters and stuff. Now everybody has whatever skin was given away for free in the battle pass that week. Or like specifically for Overwatch 1 characters, you get those legacy credits and you're able to buy legacy skins. And people are allowed to have that and show that off. But honestly, like the sense of character, the sense of progression, the sense of fun in this game is just completely gone for me. And going to 6v6 is not even going to fully fix it for me. It's just the first step. You go to 6v6, you bring back ranked rewards, you reset high player ranks back down to low ranks at the end of every season. Not low ranks, by the way. But yeah, you just reset, you know, high ranked players back to diamond every season, so they actually have a reason to grind back up. And to give them an actual reason to grind back up, give them back SR. Give them a peak number that they can look at. Because once somebody hits Champion 1 right now, if I hit Champion 1, if I spent the time, I sat down, I was bored enough to play a few hundred games to hit Champion 1, I'm done. I beat Overwatch. That's the end of the road for me. back in Overwatch 1, I remember my peak numbers. My peak number on tank was 3011 SR. I was barely diamond. I was very proud of that. Felt very accomplished. In Overwatch 1, my support peak was 2998, and I was really mad that I never made it to diamond. In Overwatch 1, my DPS peak, I don't really remember because I didn't care about the role that much, to be honest with you, but I think it was like 2800 something. Like, I remember the numbers, I remember the ranges, and I haven't played competitive role queue Overwatch in 4 years because I quit in 2020. I quit in season, I played season 32 placements maybe, but I didn't really play the game after like season like 24, give or take. And that's because I'd played for like 4 or 5 years and I got burned out. It had nothing to do with the game being awful. I just got burned out. I knew it actually, I had it in my mind. I said, in 2025, I want to come back and play Overwatch again. I'm sure it'll be a great time. Except Overwatch 2 came out, a lot of my friends were playing it, so I decided to hop on. I had a little bit of fun with it. Got addicted to it again, because the hero designs, the original hero designs are still there in some capacity. It's worse than it was, but it's still a really solid game at the end of the day, and that's what I hate about it. It's not that Overwatch is bad, it's that it's worse, so much worse than it had to be, for no reason. And I'm hoping the devs can, I don't know, understand that. I have so many people have been talking about things like this for so long now. A lot of them don't really give specifics, but a lot of random, YouTube channels have been popping up on my YouTube feed. People that have 20 subscribers make rant videos that are 30 minutes long, saying, "Man, I miss when I like this game." And it's a really simple fix, man. It's really easy to get started with. And I hope the devs in the 6v6 blog post say, "Hey, we fucked up. It's been a year and a half. We fucked up." Right, we thought because the game was free to play and the player numbers were up, we thought we were doing well, but actually we don't know how to fix 5v5. Can we go back to 6v6? Would you guys be okay with that? Can we maybe try it in a quick play hacked, try it out there, see if you like it. People are gonna like it, people are gonna be happy with it, and then just kind of slowly move their way back. Remove the role passives, add back progression, add back displayable achievements to the game, add back a sense of reward for having played the game. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, dude. It was a spray and a player icon. It doesn't even have to be an animated spray. The spray I'm proud of is this one right here that I just put on the ground. That is not an animated spray. It's got the top 500 icon, a 2, and lucioball. That can't have taken them more than 5 to 10 minutes to make. And it's kept me happy for years, about like 100 or so hours that I put back into season, the season 2 of competitive lucioball in like 2018 or whatever. Alright, it's such an easy fix, it's such an easy thing to do, such an easy way to start. And then from there, fix the hero balance, but honestly 6v6 will make a lot of the hero balance problems go away. You just revert a lot of the stuff back, right? 4 seconds of D.Va Defense Matrix is fucking ridiculous and means that you can't use anything if D.Va's on screen. You can't use a Reaper ult, you can't use a Visor, you can't use a Hoggle, you can't do anything, right? Just like, you can change that back to 2 seconds, you change it back how they designed the hero, how they designed it around the format, around the mode, how the ability was originally meant to be made and used. And then everyone will be happy. The D.Va players will be happy that nobody hates them playing their character anymore, at least a lot. I'm still going to hate D.Va players, I'm still going to hate Sombra players, but not anywhere near the extent that I do now. Because whenever there's a D.Va at the moment, because she's meta this season, whenever I see a D.Va, I just can't play the game. I can't, like, if I'm on tank, I can play the game. I'm allowed to play Reinhardt, I'm allowed to maybe try Zarya or something. Sometimes I can do Hog into her. But if I'm on DPS and the D.Va doesn't like me that day, I just can't play the game. Simple as. I'm not allowed to use my Visor, I'm not allowed to use my Death Boss, I'm not allowed to shoot them on Torbjorn. I literally am not allowed to play the game, and it's a format issue first and foremost, but there's it's a balance issue second, it's a progression and fun issue third, it's the lack of counterplay option fourth. There's like so many compounding issues that all make Overwatch 2 so much worse than Overwatch 1 was. And that's kind of what this rant was all about. Like I said, hopefully the 6v6 posts that they make, the devs make, shows signs of life, signs of promise, where like, hey, we want to change the format back, hey, we want to fix the sense of progression, hey, we want to, fix a lot of things. Going back to SR instead of this stupid-ass Champion 1, Grandmaster 1, whatever the fuck, would be amazing. Seeing an actual number that you can constantly try to improve season after season would be great. Every high level player from Overwatch 1 knows their peaks. I know my peak for lucioball, for competitive lucioball, was 4340. That was the highest I'd ever achieved. That was in 2020, not 2021, but in 2020, I got really lucky. I got really great teammates back to back to back, really solid wins, really solid games. I hit some really nasty goals on people, and I played out of my fucking mind. And I was excited to come back in like 2022 or something. I was a bit busy in 2021 when lucioball was out, so I wasn't able to play more than enough to just finish placements, really. But I was excited in 2022 to come back, you know, sit down, grind a bunch, and hit a new peak. Hit 4,400, hit 4,500, hit 46. The max was 5,000, but in all of Overwatch 1 history, only like 3 players hit 5,000 SR. Right? One of them did it in like Season 4 on Pharah, one of them did it like Season 8 on Pharah, one of them did it way back, whatchamacallit. One of them did it in like Season 2 or 3, where they got so low in rank that apparently it overflowed their rank, and they went from like bronze, like literally 1 SR, all the way to 5,000, because the devs hadn't thought of that, which was really funny. And like the other people that did it all did in the arcade mode. They did in like lucioball and whatnot. And that'd be cool. It'd be cool to have something to strive for. There was a lot of streamers that had their peak at like 4,800 SR or something, and that was insane. That was really hard to achieve. But they always had room to keep going. If they peaked at 4,839 SR, they could go for 4,840 the next season. And there was a constant reason to grind the game, a constant reason to get better. And if you weren't great, it was a constant kind of thing to look up to. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this rant here. Hopefully you enjoyed me yapping for almost an hour. I know I'm happy to have gotten at least part of what I had to say off of my chest. I've been holding on to a lot of this. I didn't really know how to say it for a long time. And I just decided, fuck it, man. I've been sitting on this information for way too long. Let me finally inform people about it. Hope you found it useful. Let me know if there's more stuff that you missed, more stuff I didn't talk about, maybe more stuff I should have covered in this rant. And hope you enjoyed one way or another. I'll see you in the other one. I'll see you in the next video. I'm a bit tired. It's been, like I said, I ranted for 50 minutes. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully Overwatch will be great again.